For years, I was a skeptic about the Bible, not because I'd thoroughly studied it and concluded it was unreliable, because I'd heard enough snippets of criticism through the years to poison my view of the book. It wasn't until I analyzed the Bible thoroughly that I concluded it must have a divine origin.
Here, Strobel admits that he never studied the Bible thoroughly as an atheist, only thoroughly after he became a Christian, with an eye towards proving the Bible correct. But apparently Strobel didn't examine the Bible thoroughly enough. Would a book of divine origin advise people on how to sell their own daughters into slavery? Would a book of divine origin command children who hit their parents to be stoned to death, while the penalty for raping a virgin is only 50 shekels of silver? Would a book of divine origin depict its author killing people for the crimes of others? Would a book of divine origin give us contradictory information about the very nature of its author?
It has repeatedly been corroborated by archaeological discoveries.
Ouch! Strobel makes a severe tactical blunder by trying to invoke science to support the Bible. Although archaeology has corroborated many of the people and places mentioned in the Bible, it has not corroborated any of the miraculous claims and has disproven several biblical claims. I'm going to detail 2 of those and mention a few others in passing. In the book of Daniel, we read about the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar and his son Belshazzar. We learn that when Nebuchadnezzar went insane for 7 years, Belshazzar took over as king of Babylon. The existence of Nebuchadnezzar has been thoroughly corroborated due to the extra-biblical writings of the Greek historian Herodotus and the Babylonian writer Berossus, as well as the cuneiform inscriptions in the Babylonian Chronicles, the Nebuchadnezzar brick, the Nebuchadnezzar cylinder, and the inscription on the Ishtar gate, as well as a door slab from the temple of Isidda. Nebuchadnezzar ruled as king for almost 50 years and did capture the Israelites, taking them into captivity in 586 BCE. But among the numerous archaeological finds concerning Nebuchadnezzar, his son Belshazzar was nowhere to be found. This led many to question the veracity of Daniel, but in 1854, several clay cylinders were discovered in the ruins of ancient Ur. One of these cylinders contained a reference to Bel-shar-uzer, the Akkadian name for Belshazzar. It seemed as if archaeology had corroborated the Bible once again. But ironically, the same inscription that verified the existence of Belshazzar also contradicted Daniel's claims that Belshazzar was the son of Nebuchadnezzar and had succeeded him as king of Babylon. Here is the relevant portion from the Nabonidus cylinder of Ur. And as for me, Nabonidus, the king of Babylon, protect me from sinning against your exalted Godhead, and grant me graciously a long life. And in the heart of Belshazzar, my firstborn son, the offspring of my loins, set the fear of your exalted Godhead, so that he may commit no sin, and that he may be satisfied with the fullness of life. The physical evidence found in the ruins of ancient Babylon showed that Belshazzar was not Nebuchadnezzar's son, but that he was the son of Nabonidus, who was the last king to rule Babylon before the Persians, under Cyrus the Great, conquered them in 539 BCE. Belshazzar never ruled Babylon as king, but, as we learn from the Babylonian Chronicles, he was co-regent in his father's extended absence, which may have lasted up to 10 years. This explains the reference in Daniel depicting Belshazzar as offering a third part of the kingdom instead of half, if Daniel would interpret the handwriting on the wall. In Daniel, Belshazzar is depicted as assuming the throne immediately following Nebuchadnezzar's reign, but in fact, there were 3 other kings that ruled after Nebuchadnezzar. Their names are Amel-Marduk, who was the son of Nebuchadnezzar and is mentioned in 2 Kings as Evil Marduk, and Nergal-Sharezer, the son-in-law of Nebuchadnezzar, who assumed the throne after murdering Amel-Marduk, and finally Labashi-Marduk, who was the son of Nergal-Sharezer. The 7 years of insanity ascribed to Nebuchadnezzar in the book of Daniel more closely matches the time that Nabonidus was absent from the throne in Tema of Arabia. It seems that the authors of Daniel have left out the 3 kings after Nebuchadnezzar, possibly due to their extremely short reigns, and combined some aspects of Nabonidus with the more famous of the Babylonian kings, Nebuchadnezzar. Further, the book of Daniel claims that Darius the Mede conquered Babylon, but in fact, it was Cyrus the Great of Persia. This is also well attested in the cuneiform inscriptions discovered in the ruins of Babylon. Here we have a clear-cut case of archaeology decisively disproving 3 biblical claims from the book of Daniel. 1, that Belshazzar was the son of Nebuchadnezzar. 2, that he became king immediately after Nebuchadnezzar. And 3, that Babylon was conquered by Darius the Mede. Many of these Babylonian relics are housed in the British Museum in London. Here's another example of archaeology disproving a biblical claim. In the book of Jonah, the city of Nineveh is described as being exceedingly large, requiring 3 days to cross it. If we assume that a person on foot could walk 20 miles in a day, that would make the length of Nineveh 60 miles, twice as long as Los Angeles. The ancient city of Nineveh has been found and excavated in the last 150 years. This map shows the basic layout. As you can tell by the map, the length of the city of Nineveh was not 60 miles. It is only about 5 kilometers or 3 miles across at its longest point, which would take only about an hour or so to traverse, not 3 days. Another clear-cut case of archaeology disproving a biblical claim. Other examples include the walls of Jericho. The ancient cities of the Israelite conquest of Canaan have been excavated and examined at the strata during which the conquest would have occurred. Although the Bible claims that the Israelites blew trumpets and the walls of Jericho fell down, none of the cities excavated had fortifications or walls. The Exodus is another example. If over 600,000 Jews sojourned in the desert of Sinai for 40 years, some evidence would have been left. Countless archaeological explorations have produced no evidence whatsoever that anyone had sojourned in the desert during that time frame. The Egyptian records are also silent. Other claims that are disproven by archaeology are dates concerning the Philistines, camel usage, and Solomon's wealth, and many more cases of missing evidence where evidence should be found. An interesting book concerning archaeology and the Bible that you might want to check out is The Bible Unearthed by Israel Finkelstein and Neil Asher Silberman.